Hey, good afternoon, everybody. On my behalf also, my name is Timo. I'm a professor of digital service business in the University of Oulu Business School. More specifically, Max Institute in Oulu Business School and at ETT. And I guess I was allocated 5 minutes for my performance. But as we learned from Minna's presentation, it's correlated with the time of you've done research, and since I've been doing research since 1999, I've been doing no, just kidding. I try to stick with the 5 minutes that I was given. I'm going to present you the results of a large quantity questionnaire study that we did as a part of this project. And this study also deals with individuals. And the purpose of this study was to find out factors that affect, influence the intention to take up these services. Why we measured intention? The reason was that we are, for a large part, dealing with services that do not yet exist. So we can't really measure actual usage. So we have to be content with studying the intention to use. Fortunately, the intention to use has been found to correlate very strongly with actual usage. So these results are quite good. The study was quite large. We actually got 855 responses. Here's the demographic distribution of the respondents. The target population of the study was Finnish working age people. As we see from the gender distribution, the female respondents were somewhat overrepresented because according to statistics in Finland, the gender distribution of working age Finnish people is quite even. If I remember correctly, share of females was 49.80 or something like that, so just under 50%. So in our case, women were somewhat overrepresented, and this might affect the results somewhat because other studies have found that women are more prone to take up digital or e-health services than men are. So we have to keep that in mind when we consider the results. And our approach was to come up with a sort of a holistic research model. So what we did, we combined traditional models of technology acceptance and also models that deal with healthy behavior. And combining those, we came up with a research model which we estimated using structural equations modeling technique, more specifically maximum likelihood based on covariance metrics, which is a good method of kind of start with a holistic model and then coming down with the actual model that has statistically significant relationships between the variables. And like usually the actual variables were measured with Likert scales, 5-point Likert scales. And as we were dealing with services that are not yet in actual use, we had to measure habit, which was one of the variables in the model. We had to measure it through usage of existing e-health or wellness technologies. And going onwards to the results, this is with respect to the habit variable. The most commonly used or familiar to the consumers technologies were heart rate monitors and phone-based exercise apps. And you have to keep in mind that this questionnaire was held in 2015, so if we did today, this might be a bit different. I would assume that activity monitors, webcasts, hardware monitors. Key results. The most valuable features of this type of service. What do people really want out of these type of services? First of all, something that educates them in healthy behavior. Services that gives them feedback on how their behavior affects their health. And of course, services that helps them to monitor health. The biggest barriers to service adoption are the reliability of the information from the service. That's a big concern. Lack of time. Everybody's so busy they don't have time to use these services. This third one is quite interesting. Resistance to change, to the way that people interact with other people. That was kind of a strange result. And lastly, the uncertainty of whether the service would be effective in terms of promoting health. So these results in general were quite similar to those that have been gotten in other studies around the world. Concerning the adoption of these types of services, the most significant factors were ease of use. The easier the services are used, the more likely people are to adopt them. Then, self-efficacy related to, first of all, the technology use, and secondly, to healthy behavior. The higher the self-efficacy was, the more likely people were to adopt these services. So this means that the better we believe that we are using these technologies, and the more we believe that we can actually behave in a healthy manner, that affects positively to the likelihood of taking up these services. And then threat appraisals were also very, very important determinants of intention to use. The higher we felt that we were vulnerable, or the more severe we felt that our condition was, the more likely we were to adopt these services. And almost 85% of the respondents would use these services. This is a very good result. And since people would use these services if we could tackle the barriers and come up with services that provide them enough value, I guess that if we invest in increasing the general awareness of how to behave in a healthy manner, increasing this self-efficacy, and in expertise in using the health technologies, the more likely we are to have people taking up these services and get more business out of this and healthier people.
Thank you.
That's enough.